Now here I've been given a cosine graph. I've got a leading coefficient of 1.5. We have a horizontal compression involved here. We have our vertical shift here. And our horizontal shift is a little bit difficult because it's not in factored form. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this equation. And I'm going to factor out that 2. So I end up with theta plus, factoring is, I'm going to divide that term. So I end up with pi over 2, and that represents my shift. Okay, so I have a vertical shift. I have my amplitude. I have my B value. Now I have my horizontal shift. Okay, so that's my phase shift here. So I'm going to start with my or my amplitude actually. Let's start with the amplitude here. The amplitude is 1.5. The vertical shift factor, the vertical shift is going to be plus 1. My phase shift is going to be left pi over 2. And then the period based on my horizontal compression, my period works out to be pi. Okay, 2 pi divided by the horizontal compression of 2. So now I have all the parts. I want to, when I draw in my vertical shift, that's where I'm going to start with. I want to just accommodate my amplitude of 1.5. So maybe my shift is somewhere around here at plus 1. That's y equals 1. My amplitude's going to go 1 up, 1.5 up, and 1.5 down. My phase shift left pi over 2. When I draw in my phase shift, I just have to make sure that when I draw my phase shift of negative pi over 2 to the left, that my graph can fit the whole period. So I've got to go 1 pi to the right. So negative 1/2 plus 1 gives me positive 1/2. So I'm going to end up right about here. So there it is. I have my start and end points. I'm going to draw my quadrants. Okay, my quadrants are going to be at negative pi over 4, positive pi over 4, and there it is. Now I have all 4 quadrants. I've got the middle. I've got my guide to draw this graph. It's a cosine graph. So I just need to make sure that I know about how high I should go. So this is about 3 up here. So my cosine starts at the top. So my amplitude is 1.5. So I'm going to go 1.5. So this is going to be negative pi over 2. From the middle of 1, I'm going to add 1.5. So I'm at a y coordinate of 2.5. I'm going to go down to the middle. And since this is about negative 1 here, I'm going to go to negative 1.5 here. So that coordinate, the minimum point is at x is 0, y is negative 0.5. So my amplitude is now being reflected from the middle up 1.5, down 1.5. I'm going to draw in the other quadrant parts here. And then by using those reference points, I can draw in my 4 quadrants using the quadrant symmetry. And there it is. I've labeled my min and max points as well. Okay. So we may also be asked to locate these middle points. So in this case here, it's going to be at negative pi over 4 and 1. This point here is at positive pi over 4 and 1. Okay, and that's reflected with the vertical shift.